And now what I want to do is just walk through this little PowerPoint I have with you guys briefly. I have a 3-slide PowerPoint, nothing complicated. Give you 2 introductory principles before our first real lecture on Catholic theological principles for the study of our course. The first slide gives us 3 approaches to religions. And I want to talk about how our approach to Catholicism is different. You remember from moral theology, or in general the study of the virtues, the mean is between the 2 extremes. So virtue is in the middle. There's always 2 ways to go wrong for every 1 way to go right in morality. Well, the same holds true here. Exclusivism, which you'll see here on the far left of my slide, is the belief that we're the only right religion. We're the only one that has truth. Everyone else is going to hell. So it's an exclusive claim to the truth and goodness. At the other end of the spectrum, pluralism, is the belief that everyone's right. There are multiple paths. They all lead up the same mountain. They're all fine. They're all okay. You might also call this relativism. The position we are adopting in this course, which is the position of the Catholic Church in Vatican II and the popes after that, is more appropriately, I'd say, described as inclusivist. That's the scholarly term we use. And what we're saying here with that is the Catholic Church professes to hold the fullness of the means of truth and salvation. We'd be disingenuous, we'd be false to Christ's own claims, we'd be false to our own profession of faith in the creed if we said everyone was right, pluralism, or if we said we're the only ones that are right, exclusivism. So what I want to convey to you guys in this course is that while we as Catholics believe that our church has the fullness of truth, we can't help but say that, there are also many great, beautiful things in these other traditions that we can stand to learn from. And that's what a lot of people don't get. We can actually stand to learn from them. We can help purify our own faith. So that's the position called inclusivism. Now looking down to the next slide. The next slide has the difference between theology and religious studies. And that is important because at Benedictine, our department once upon a time was called a religious studies department. First it was theology, then religious studies, now it's back to theology again. And for example, in my undergraduate at the University of Illinois, I studied religious studies. It's all fine and good, but religious studies does not look at the truth claims in these religions. I've actually put up 4 different characteristics which distinguish religious studies from theology. Now, some people, when they study this class, they'll think it's too Catholic. Some people think it's not Catholic enough. Again, the virtue is between those 2 extremes. So what's the difference here? First of all, theology is based on what comes before us. As Pope Benedict says in a great essay he wrote on this, what in fact is theology? He says, theology is based on a word given to us in advance. It's based on divine revelation. It's based on what Christ tells us. So we're not just making this up. We're not just the arbiters of our own truth. We really are taking, what does Jesus tell us in the Gospels? What does the tradition tell us? And how can we evaluate these religions and our own religion in relationship to that which has come before us? Religious studies, on the other hand, has our own reason, our own minds as our criteria. Our position in Catholicism is not against reason, it's faith and reason. But that element of faith, what comes before us, is critical. Now, the classic expression in medieval theology is credo ut intelligam. I believe in order that I might understand. Most of us begin our lives with faith that our parents gave to us, and we gradually come to seek to understand it and try to grasp more and more. It's not that we get it, then we believe it. So this course will be for you, I hope, an exercise in, I believe, Lord, now help me to understand. How can 3 or 4 or 5, 6 billion people believe all this stuff that's so different than my own faith? What does that mean for my own life? How can I live in the world with them well? So those are the questions you should be thinking about. Second point here, as I said, in theology we're concerned with truth claims. Is Buddha's claim that the fundamental problem in our lives is suffering and desire, is that true or not? Is the Christian claim that Jesus rose from the dead true? Or is the Muslim claim right, that he did not die or rise from the dead? Those are things that if you study religious studies, you don't really evaluate. You just say, this religion said this religion said this. We kind of get to have it both ways in this course, though. We'll seek to understand first religion on their own terms, so what they say, and give them a charitable reading. But then also we want to ask, well, how does this relate to our own faith? And where's the truth in it? What beauty can we derive from it? And maybe where are the critiques we might have of it? Thirdly, Religious studies presupposes no authority because there are no truth claims. But obviously in Catholicism we have the magisterium, so we have an ultimate say. We have Jesus Christ and his word, preserved by the Pope and bishops, the magisterium, throughout the ages. So ultimately there's some things we can know by virtue of the faith we've been given, whether they're true or not. And we evaluate based in light of those truths, which is why the first couple days of our course we're looking at all of these religions first from the Catholic magisterial perspective. That is, we're setting it up in light of theology, the study of God, the study of God's revealed word. Then we can go and properly look at the other religions. Finally, Pope Benedict is right when he says that theology differs from religious studies because religious studies doesn't pertain to my life directly. It doesn't impose upon me any kind of truth claims or any kind of moral codes. But you see, theology, we're really concerned with how to live my life better, how to attain holiness, how to get to God. So it offers counsel on how to live my life. And that's why periodically throughout the summer I'll say, well, here's one way this applies to our spiritual life. Or here's one beautiful thing from this religion we could take a page from. And things like that. Rather than just memorizing, hear what they say, here's what they say, etc. So in summary then, religious studies versus theology. Looking at it from God's perspective and our human reason is theology. Concerned with the truth claims of it. Concerned with how it applies to my life. And then as I said before in the previous slide, we are taking a more inclusivist approach at Catholicism, which means we don't say that everybody else is wrong or that everybody else is all right. But rather, where is the fullness of the truth we believe it comes from Christ and the church? And then each religion reflects a ray of that goodness. We want to apprehend that, learn from it, and learn to live with people who profess that faith in the world today. So that's a wrap for this first introductory lecture. From now on, I'll give you guys periodic video updates like this. I'll see you live via discussions. And other than that, you're going to be seeing me on PowerPoint and an email if you want to contact me that way. So God bless, and I look forward to having you all in class. Thanks.